Thank you again for helping each other get through tougher times in the market to survive and or thrive. Obviously, the goal is thrive, but either way, got to do what we got to do to help each other. So I'm going to turn this over to TJ, and we're going to talk to our good friend Josh here. I think you guys are going to talk a little bit about real estate agents, but either way, I will try to keep my mouth shut for at least 3 minutes.
Nah, man. So now I'm excited about this call today, guys, because look, we've had some really good calls over the past month or 6 weeks that we've been doing this. And a lot of it, though, has been about mindset and, staying strong and being positive and going back to basics and things like that. But, I wanted to add some stuff too early. We're talking about specific strategies, specific steps that people are taking to go ahead and, survive, thrive, what we call it survivor stage, right? Build their business. So Josh, who is, a good friend, he is excellent at prospecting real estate agents, and he's got a pretty unique way to do it. And car's getting ready to start right outside my window, just in case you hear like music blaring or something in the background. So, but Josh, a couple things. One, for anyone who doesn't know, tell the team a little bit about you. So you're a branch manager, been in the business for a long time, old school guy who built his business with a greatness tracker, and you're kind of been moving into adding some technology into your business over the last year or so, right?
Yeah. So when I first hopped into this industry, I did what I would consider now old school cold calling, where it was just that is just, I always say I found that it ends up being luck through volume. So like preparation met with opportunity, right? And that's what those old school calls are, because you're just looking for a realtor that'll throw you a bone, send you a referral, or get lucky and just find a realtor that happens to be looking for a new lender at the same time. And those are really rough calls to make. I mean, you got to make a lot of phone calls. You got to, it's my rule was 20 a day. And, and that's what I did. But I was getting contracts within, I think, 4 weeks of me starting in the business. I started getting three, 4 contracts a weekend from it. So it's not that it doesn't work. It's just that I didn't want to do that again.
And I think it's even more challenging today to do that, because so many folks have jumped into this business right during the refinance time, and now they're trying to go ahead and maintain their business. And a lot of people all of a sudden making those 20 calls every day, or the 40 calls a Monday that we hear about, right? And I've got a client we're doing some work for out in Southern California. I got one of my dialers dialing on his behalf, and we can't even get past the intro call right now. So we're having to come up with the creative and different ways to do that. Again, that's kind of what we have you on here for. So you started, you took something that you're just utilizing some of the technology that you had, and you start finding different ways to prospect agents. And you've got I know you told me the other day is like between the different things you're doing, 30 plus new relationships in about 6 to 8 weeks from taking these steps. So if you don't mind to share with everyone kind of what you're doing to go ahead and prospect really listing agents right now.
Yeah, so definitely utilizing MLO Leads Academy, number one. So that's kind of the heartbeat of the operation.
What a coincidence! This is crazy.
Weird how you set that up.
But to be clear, you don't need to be a Lola member to do what Josh is talking about here.
That's
right. So
so what I'm doing is setting up appointments and phone calls via Zoom 5 days a week. And when we pull up the Zoom, the main brunt of the conversation is that I don't want them to send me any. I'm not calling to have them stop sending business to their current LOs. The biggest thing is, hey, I have leads coming in because I'm creating leads, and I'm looking for like-minded realtors to refer business to. And some of the things I look at, number one, I always tell them, first thing I look at is, loan officers' selfish data, which is how many buy sides do you do? Because obviously, if I'm gonna throw you some leads, I want to make sure over the long run you do enough buy side business where if you end up liking me and you want to use me, that the relationship's even worth it, right? So that's the first thing I look at. And the second thing is really why we're having the conversation. So tell me a little bit about yourself. So I just kind of have the realtor start selling me on them instead of me having to sell.
It's a
them on
paradigm
me.
shift, right?
So
It's,
yeah, so
hey,
you just kind
I
of
can
flip
bring
the
business
script
to
a
you.
little bit.
Yep.
Because most of the realtors are, you know, I mean, obviously business is down.
Mhm.
And, you know, if I could be a differentiator, because there's a couple things. Number one, you know, I always say if a realtor gets 100 leads a year and they're converting 20 of them, and I have the systems and processes to convert 30 of them, what's that worth to you? Right? So it's worth a lot. And so I really just get into systems and lead generation. And that's really just the conversation that I have. And then if I like them and I'm vibing with them, then generally I'll follow up and, you know, let's do a face-to-face and, you know, invite them to, you know, NBA games or baseball games or whatever they like. And let's socialize a little bit. And so that's really what's been going on.
So you're still doing the, you know, the meet and greets and getting to know people. You're just approaching it a little bit differently. Now, one of my favorite things that you do, and if you don't want to share this, just say stop, all right? That's fine. But I know that, you know, when you have a certain approach to targeting listing agents right there, that kind of makes it really easy for you to make those phone calls. You mind telling everyone a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I look for listings have gotten a little bit more difficult recently, but what I like to do is now you look for some aged listings. Obviously 6 months ago, you can run an ad on a listing and create tons of leads. Okay, you can't do that anymore, but can you still utilize listing ads? And the answer is yes. And what you do is you just call the realtor, find out why the home's not selling, and just have a conversation and ask them if they'd be okay with me marketing that property on their behalf at no expense to them. And so that starts a relationship there as well. And you know, the leads that do come in, they are exclusive to them. And you know, I give them the whole list so they can upload it into their own system at the end of the ad. So again, you know, it's frustrating, you know, realtors are frustrated because they're not getting any traction on these listings. And so I'm kind of a breath of fresh air, though I'm not, you know, in no way am I probably going to realistically help them sell that house any quicker. But it's a change, it's a break from monotony.
Yeah, and perception is reality with that, right? So, and this goes back into the whole, you know, sales 101. This person has a problem, right? They have a problem that they're not accustomed to because 3, 6, 9 months ago, those houses weren't staying on the market for 2 hours, let alone 2 weeks, right? So now you're giving them at least what they perceive as a solution or something to help their problem, where again, no one else is. So really, I mean, that's probably like one of the easiest phone calls you make right there, right?
Yeah, it's an easy call. And I always have some fun with it because I always say, you know, I don't know what the other lenders are doing when they're calling you. They're probably, you know, giving you a call and telling you how good they are at doing loans and that they have a cool app to put on your phone. And that kind of gets a chuckle out of them because that's really the phone calls that they're getting right now is yeah, great. As a default, me being a lender, just assume I'm good at doing freaking loans. And let's just not even have that conversation, right? Let's talk about what you're doing in a market that you should be casting a wider net so that you can get a bigger slice of the pie later. So, you know, it's like I want 500-600 people on, because down payment assistance out here in Arizona is very limited right now. And so I want 400, 500, 600 people on a list. So the second those floodgates open, you know, we're gonna have some fun, right? And you know, and then I ask the realtors, you know, what are you doing to protect your current database? Because when this market turns, your whole database is going to get attacked. They're going to get attacked on social media, on standard media, and do they know that? Are you top of mind? So if they get a call from somebody with a lot of game, are they going to be like, no, I already have a realtor, I'm using TJ? Sorry. You know, are they all that way, or what are we doing to go after database? And that's where I can bring up home ownership seminars on their own database, which is awesome because as they register, I actually end up capturing some of their database also by doing that. So that's kind of the three-pronged approach: is listings, the Zoom calls, and the seminars.
Very good. Very good. Cool. Fish, I've been doing all the talking as usual, buddy. What do you got for Josh?
Two different questions here. Question one, you mentioned kind of asking the realtors about protecting the database. I think that's great. Do you end up teaching them some of the skills that you have, like maybe teaching them a little bit more about social media? Like, for example, hey, I'm going to teach you how to tell a funny joke every day on your social media and kind of friend your clients. And now instead of a database, you have a database because they're all dad jokes, right? Ha 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 ha. But I mean, do you do things like that where you teach those realtors better skills on some of the things that perhaps they're older, like us, and they're not as good as that kind of stuff for the TikTok? I mean, do you?
Yeah, I find that 9 out of 10 of the agents I talk to have very poor social media skills, like very poor. I mean, that it's, they set up a page and do a post a month, maybe, right? And I'm no social media master either. I mean, I've had to come out of my shell the last 6 months when it comes to that. And, I like bringing up unique ideas that they haven't heard, like private groups. It's tough to build a private group. I mean, I started a private group. I'm trying to build it, and little by little, I think I have 8 people in there right now, but I'm gonna keep trying because I know the 8 will turn into 16 and the 16 will turn into 32. I know over time it will do it. So you got to have some commitment to it. But
I mean, you're presenting in a private group right now with almost 13,000 people. And yeah, it's certainly not easy to build. There's other groups with 13,000 people that have like one post a day. Ours usually has 15 to 30. But yeah, you got to put content, you got to be engaging. So you can teach them this kind of stuff. It's fantastic. The other thing that, I know you mentioned talking or looking at listings, listing agents and things like that. I hear some different people in the industry, and I'm not going to throw names out there, but they say like, you should only be working with this type of agent. You should only call this type of agent that does this kind of transactions. I mean, do you segment the folks you're going to call like that? Or do you take a broader approach and, just kind of say, hey, I'm going to go after this whole list of 200. I don't really care what their production is right this second. I'll sort that out later.
That is kind of what I'm doing, because really I'm looking for like-minded people that I'm going to get along with, and you can't do that unless you have these conversations, right? And so, I found that I've got a little picky through the years. I don't like, there's just certain agents I'm not going to jive with. And there's certain agents I'm going to, and I can pretty much tell through the dialogue if I'm really interested in this agent. Are they interested? It's kind of like going after, a gal or something like that, right? You're just trying to figure out, you might be interested, they might not be interested, right? So, but time will tell. And
yeah, you get too into the profile, and then you're like, oh, I just missed this person because I didn't cast a wide enough net, if you will.
Yeah. Well, and I do have different conversations with agents that do lower volume. Like if I see an agent that did 5-6 buy sides in one of the biggest, busiest markets around, the question is, why did you only do 5-6 buy sides? Why didn't you do 12? Why didn't you do 15? And I call them out on it because why not? Because I want to find out what their aspirations are. Because if they just want to be a fly-by-night realtor, then I'm here to help you, but I'm probably not going to put a lot of energy into you.
Do you ever find, yourself having a conversation with an agent who closed like 2 deals a year, but you really like them? And then you're like, I need to call that person. Like that happened to me 2 weeks ago. Literally, this agent closes 1 to 2 deals a year. But if it's a buyer, they send every one of them to me. And so I still call them from time to time. I called that agent 2 weeks ago. Lo and behold, I have a pre-approval today. And it's like, this is probably the only buy side this agent will have all year. But wow, it's a good borrower.
Yeah, so, but if you get 20 of those,
right.
That's right.
I mean, that's an extra 20 to 40 deals that you have right there, because everyone else missed them because the perception was, well, this person isn't worth my time. This thing right here, if it takes you 5 minutes every 3 months to stay in front of someone, that's an hour a year, right? I don't know, 30 minutes a year right there. Yeah. And for the possibility of getting a deal or two.
Yeah.
I get it. You don't want to build your business on that.
But I just find that you have to figure out where you're going to be of value to this individual. There's a lot of realtors that have very niche business models, and I love that about them, right? And then there's others that are just flat out hustlers, right? They're the ones I like the most because, quite frankly, most realtors have really crappy systems, they have really crappy CRMs, they have crappy follow-up. They're using the drip system that their real estate company pre-installed in the CRM. And you got to have those type of conversations with them so that you can kind of have them realize, okay, I'm not that dialed in. Yeah, it's busy. It was busy. Now's the time to do something different so that and I say these exact words. I say, you don't want to be playing catch up when this market comes back. You want to be on the starting line already, ready. And so, yeah.
So we try to keep these close to 15. Let's bring it on home. I'm going to ask you one last question. You kind of mentioned this. You're training the realtors to protect their database or their connections. So you make all these calls, you meet all these people. What do you do to protect the relationships that you currently have from all those other hustlers out there that are getting trained by TJ and myself and our friends?
Yeah, I have not had much issues through time. My long-term partners were kind of like family, so I really don't have much to worry about there. Anyone can call them all they want, and they won't get into that circle, fortunately. But it's you gotta, the key with realtor calls is don't bullshit them. You gotta only talk about things that that you can deliver on. Don't fluff it, because that's just going to make you look bad later. So just make sure you talk real, talk about, what you can do, and also, make sure you're promising things that you like to do. The nice thing about this industry is there's lots of different ways to skin the cat, and you got to find out the way that you like, and just do things that you're interested in as a loan officer. Don't promise things and then all of a sudden you got to deliver on them, and you hate delivering on that subject. Don't do that.
Or if you're going to promise it, make sure you have the infrastructure that someone else can deliver it for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. So awesome stuff. Hey, I just want to wrap this up. Josh, thank you so much. MLO Net. Josh gave you some very specific strategies here. Prospecting agents, having Zoom calls with them, showing how you're different. The easiest way he's found to go ahead and connect with an agent is to find that listing that's been on the market for a couple of weeks because it's overpriced, or it's not realistic for today's market. Give them a call. Offer to build listing ads, which, by the way, you can find right here in MLO Net. We've got the training right here. You don't have to join the course. You don't have to join my course or Fisher's course, or someone's going to charge you $5,000 to learn how to do this. It's right here for free. Implement that. Have those calls. Show these agents what you're doing. And then let us know if you implement this. How many agents are you getting? I bet you get a lot more than saying, hey, I'd like to take you out for a cup of coffee, because you're providing something different.
Awesome. You guys are awesome. I'm going to stop recording. We're going to stop the call, but we're going to sit here for just a second in case any